Here we are at the testing page for theintelligencenews.com, and in this video I wanted to show you how to group posts in here based on different categories. So right now what we've got here is we've taken these and removed them from the Visual Page Builder and created two widgetized areas. We tried numerous different grouping methods, but all of them were rather cumbersome and required a lot of steps in addition to the regular steps that were already in there. So we wanted to create a system where you were going to configure something once and then go in and configure it a little bit if you wanted to, but then during your regular posting that you would be able, just by selecting the correct category, have it show up where you want to out front here, so there would be no extra steps involved in there. Any of the other systems we tried involved creating tags, involved creating subcategories, and also having them in the main category, so it resulted in having to select two categories instead of one, and so we worked with numerous different ways until we found one that the only configuration that needed to be done was for the widgets themselves. Other than that, all you have to do is select a category like you normally do, and instead of selecting left or middle category, you will select instead the other category that you create, and then they will show up in that area. So I'm going to go ahead and come back here into the administrative interface, and I'm going to come over on the left-hand side here. I'm going to come all the way down to Appearance, and I'm going to come down to Widgets. And the first two widgetized areas you see are Homepage Left Column and Homepage Middle Column. And right now, you'll notice we have one widget in each. I'm going to open those up. You'll notice we do not have a widget title. We are telling it to get posts by the category of Homepage Left. We do not need to ignore sticky posts. It says number of posts to show. I've told it to show 25. I've told it not to skip any posts, and we'll get into that in a minute. You can order the posts different ways, and you can also order ascending or descending as well. I've told it to display thumbnails and chosen the size of medium. And that's it. Once done, that will, here in this area, that is what generates this feed right here. So as you add things into this category right here for the left-hand column on the home page, they will just automatically show up there. So what if I wanted to create like just a section for Iraq, though? I still want to have just 25 articles here, but I want a section for Iraq. So, okay, I'm going to come down here and grab another flexible post widget. And I'm going to drag it all the way up here to Homepage Left Column and drop it in there. I'm going to give it a title of Iraq. Now, I'm going to come over here. Post type is posts. Taxonomy and term is what I want. First, when you come in here, it's going to say ignore taxonomy and term. You're just going to go one down to categories. Then it's going to look for the current categories we have in place, and you'll see one of the categories I have is Iraq. I have tagged 3 different articles with the category of Iraq. I have not tagged those articles with homepage featured, homepage left, or homepage middle. To do so will cause duplicate posts to come up. So you do not need to also determine that this is homepage middle. You don't need to do that when doing that, and neither do you need to do that in the post. You only have to select one category. I just go ahead and ignore sticky posts. That's not relevant for the system. It defaults to the number 3, which is actually how many articles that I have for Iraq now. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3. If I didn't have 3 articles, though, but I wanted 3 to come up, but I only had 1, I could still put 3. And then as I added more articles, it will just show the latest 3 articles. So you don't have to have that certain number of posts in there at that time. The only thing you have to have is a category with 1 post in it, is all you have to have, nothing more. So once you've created your category and tagged it to a post, it will select those terms, everything will show up, and you're able to come in here and just by telling this widget that you want it to select just those terms, I'm just going to select 3 posts here. I'm not going to skip any posts. Tell it to display a thumbnail of medium, and save. Now when I come out here and refresh, over here on the bottom of the left-hand column, you're going to see now I have a section called Iraq. And I've got a title here, and I've got a little bit of extra space between this widget down here. If you do not have the title here, it collapses that space, and so it just looks like it's just continuing down the list. So, and I've got my 3 articles that are tagged with Iraq. So, okay, now, but what if I don't want this to show up at the bottom? What if I wanted this to show up, per se, like right in the middle, and then I want these articles, though, to continue down? Very, very simple to do, actually. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come up here. And I've added in 3 posts, so now I could take and I could change this to 22, and that would even up my columns. But what I actually want to do is I want to have 11 posts above that and 11 posts below that from the homepage left category. So I'm going to tell this to just show 11 posts, and then I'm going to save it. I'm going to go ahead and collapse that, come back down, grab another flexible post widget. I'm going to come up here. Now, I'm not going to give this a widget a title because this is just going to be a continuation of the generic posts that are in the left-hand column. I'm going to leave this as posts. You're never going to have to worry about changing post type. Just come over here to taxonomy and term. I'm going to grab categories. I'm going to select homepage left. I'm going to show 11 posts, but I'm also going to skip 11 posts, which is the number that I had in the other, which is the number of posts that I have in the other, in the top widget right here. I'm going to go ahead and leave all these the same. Display thumbnails and medium. And save. Now when I come out here and I refresh the page, one thing, my columns are going to be more even now because now we're going to have 25 posts in each column. So you see they've evened up. And now you'll see I have these coming up here at top. I've got 11 articles right up here at top. And as I scroll down, here I've got my Iraq, my 3 articles, and then I've got the remainder of the articles coming down just below that. So that is if you decide that you want to place something in the middle, that it's very, very simple to do, and you can do this. Mind you, there are no limits to how many widgets you can have here. There's absolutely no, and it's extremely configurable thanks to the fact that you are able to skip posts in the same category and determine how you want to order those posts by, whether you want images in that section to be displayed or not. If you don't want images in that section to be displayed, you can just choose not to display thumbnails, and it won't display the images. It'll just, if there is an image there, it will just automatically collapse that space. When categories, if you wanted to choose, if you had several categories that you wanted to choose from, let's say I had Iraq, Iran, and Saudi Arabia as countries, and I wanted to have a section for the Middle East. Instead of going back and tagging all of those Middle East, I could just give this widget a title of Middle East, and then select all of those categories, and then that will just now automatically show up under a Middle East type. And whenever I tag anything with Iraq or Iran or Saudi Arabia, it will show up under that. And then later, if I wanted to separate that, it's very, very easy to come in here and just unselect that category, and either they won't show up or I can place them in another area, in another widget in another area. So also, the widgets drag and drop as well. If I wanted the information on Iraq to be up at the very top, I could just drag and drop that. Be aware that when you do drag and drop stuff, do be aware that you don't have to save it before those changes become active out here. So they will immediately become active, just to let you know. So, but whenever making any changes in here in the actual widget, you need to click Save before those become active on the outside. But when these are collapsed and you're dragging and dropping, they automatically save any changes to the database as you drag and drop. So, to get rid of widgets, you just come over here and click Delete. And that will get rid of your widget. I could also come over here and just drag the widget off and to nowhere, and then it will go away. Then I can come back here to my home page left and put in 25 category, 25 posts again. And now when I come back out here and I refresh, I'm back to my original configuration of 2 columns and just 2 widgets with 25 posts, each showing specific content from that is designated for this column and designated for that column. So that is how you use the grouping system. It's really direct and to the point. If you have any questions or you need us to cover anything else, just let us know. Thanks. Bye.